Good evening. Welcome to another exciting episode of Live with Abouna. I'm very, very excited and I'm very happy to welcome Father Yacoub Magdy. Father Yacoub Magdy is from St. Mark's Parish in Uncliffe, and that's also my church parish and also my beloved spiritual father. So we welcome you, Abouna, to this show, and we're very excited to have you.
Thank you, Christine.
Just first up, I would just love to send you our greetings and just a slight apology also because we're slightly late today. Our greetings, Christos Anesti. This is the first post-Lent episode, so we're very happy also to have celebrated the Feast of the Resurrection. Okay, Abouna, first question up is, and please keep your questions coming. I will repeat the phone number for you in a second. But the first question, Abouna, is how do we maintain our spirituality after Lent?
I really believe that these 50 days after resurrection give us a great chance to revive spiritually, because we reap what happened after the fasting and the Passion Week. This is the time that the Lord visited many people, and that's the time that we, in quietness and we keep having books to read about resurrection. We understand the nature of Christ deeper. The Church helps us in that. Every week during these 50 days, the Church selects one of the attributes of the Lord Jesus Christ, and this is revealed to us. For example, He is the light of the world. He is the bread of life. So these 50 days is a good chance to get deeper in our understanding. So there are many people that get revived during the 50 days of joy of resurrection. But mainly we resort to reading. There are many good books that we can read during this time that would make us understand deeper and deeper the meaning of resurrection.
Okay, Abouna. The next question, but before I ask the next question, I would just like to remind our viewers of the number to text your questions to. It's 0416 551 292. So I'll repeat that again, 0416 551 292. So please keep your questions coming, and you'll hear your answer live with Abouna. Okay, so the second question, thank you, Abouna, for answering that question. The second question is, how much attention should we pay to the signs from God? I think it says to pay to sign from God, but I think it's just worded a little bit differently. And how do we know that they are actually from God or not? So, you know, Abouna, like a lot of the youth, it's a big thing happening these days. I'm going to pray and ask God for a sign.
Expect a sign.
Yeah.
I really believe that this is a way that makes us get confused more than getting help. We understand the will of God from the Bible. We understand how the Lord deals with people through reading in the history of the fathers, history of the Church, the Bible principles, having confession fathers, having Sunday school teachers that would help us. So there is no need to rely on science, because sometimes it's very deceiving. It may be misinterpreted. There is some naive way of thinking that if I'm going somewhere and the traffic light is green, and if I meet someone, then it means it's sign from God. Of course, these things are not the way. There are many people that consecrated their life to the Lord as nuns or monks, not based on signs or things like that, just the feeling that the invitation came to them by the heart being inflamed with the love of God, and that is the way they were invited in this path.
Of course, Abouna, you know that I'm one for a lot of questions. You know that. So I'm going to have to play the devil's advocate, just because I know these people ask isn't it biblical? Science is a biblical thing. So there has been mentioned in the Bible that, prophets have prayed for signs and they've received them from God. So why am I different?
Because the mission that I'm doing is different from, like if we read in the Bible about someone that asked for a sign from God to start fight against enemies that are hundreds of times stronger than his resources. And at that time, it's very crucial for him to have assurance. When David asked the Lord for a sign to enter a war or something like this, different. But not for me that I choose this faculty or that faculty, or if I... the things that we are asking signs for are trivial and selfish.
And selfish.
Yeah, not, not really the things that... So the signs in the Bible that the Lord revealed and prophets that asked for that were mainly for a major decision that concerns the whole people, and in many cases it was very risky to take a decision like that. But as for us, we rely on the Bible. We rely on understanding the rules of the Bible. The Bible set for us many rules. We understand many things through the experience of studying the Bible. And that's the reason that all Christians all over the world are very similar to each other in understanding. Like, Bible study is mainly to make us understand how we expect the will of God to be.
Yeah. I know, Abouna, that also, instead of signs, I think you are more of, you like vows. You like the idea of vows with God. Can you talk to us just a little bit about that? And we'll go into the next question, because I know that you've had a lot of success with
There's
that.
an order to make vow and fulfill it.
Yeah.
Making vows is a very strong tool to make the relationship with God alive and real.
Yeah.
That it's a matter of begging the Lord in a way that I show him that I beg you, Lord, by doing something for you, and I expect you to do something, but let it be your will.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, I'm just begging.
Yeah.
But experience in our church, as you know, showed that this
vows
idea
are very important to us.
Many people got many things through God through this easy way, but the Lord made it clear that make vows.
That's right.
And fulfill your vows.
He likes commitment from us, doesn't he?
And actually it makes the relationship very real, that I do something, expect something. And I think the Lord sometimes in his modesty is reduced to accept from us
what we can offer. Yeah. It's very nice of you. Okay, I'll just remind you to please keep sending your questions. Also, you can send it through Twitter at CYC Now. Okay, or just through the Facebook page of the Christian Youth Channel. Your questions could also be received through those avenues. Before we go to the next question, actually we are up to the next question, so here it is. To what extent can we mix with other cultures before it starts to affect our Christianity? So to what extent can we mix with other cultures?
Well, mixing with other cultures can affect our Christianity in a positive or a negative way.
Yep.
Sometimes that when we mix with people that are God-fearing, they give us great models of devotion to the Lord. So it's not a matter of mixing with other culture as much as to be selective in whoever we choose as a friend or a person that we can communicate with.
Yep.
So we can mix with other cultures, and sometimes they are very, very helpful to us. The only thing is that we should always have an open eyes and open mind to understand that each culture has its positive and its negative.
Yeah.
So we should not really pick the negative parts. Like we complement each other. There are many positive things in any culture.
Yeah.
So we can mix with different cultures, but when it comes to, say, getting prayer meeting and camps and things like that, it's much safer to be with the culture that we know, well supervised, and it proved to be strong. But we definitely encourage people to benefit from the positive things from different cultures.
Yeah. Okay. Another question, Abouna, thank you for answering that question. How am I expected to get married if dating is considered wrong? Now, I'm not sure if this is from somebody a little bit younger and her parents have told him or her dating at this stage is wrong, but Abouna, all to you.
Well, who said that dating is wrong? It's a matter how it's done. Like, there's something called pre-engagement. Like before the engagement, we start knowing each other, supervised by the parents, or at least approved by the parents and the church. And we start knowing each other. The word dating is, there's no definition for the word dating.
Okay, I was going to actually ask you, Abouna, seeming this question was asked, maybe we can delve a little bit further for the general knowledge of the people in that sort of life stage. What is dating in the eyes of our church, or courtship in the eyes of our church? Like, I think we all need to know, and I know we all think, oh, it's, you know, it's very simple. You know, two people meet each other, they like each other, but Abouna, like, what is the spiritual guidance for that? Like, you know, I think this is something that we don't really necessarily have the best grasping on still.
I think when the boy or the girl trust the church, trust the parents, and they have confession fathers, then they get advice from them, such that when they start knowing each other, first they choose the suitable time, not very early, to start these things. Also to have a bit of assessment of the situation, that there is success, there's possibility of success. Like some of the boys and girls start relationships without revealing that to the parents or the confession fathers. And sometimes they do serious mistakes. So it's not the idea of dating in general, it's the idea of how we do it. But there is nothing wrong about the pre-engagement, encouraged by the confession fathers, for the boy and the girl, that they can go together for a cup of coffee or so, provided that it's known and the parents approve it, and there's at least ticking some boxes to show that...
You know something, Abouna? When just something came to mind listening to you answer that question. In the Australian culture, or the Western culture in general, people get engaged to plan a wedding. They've already gotten to know each other, they've already gotten to, you know, to the stage of realizing that marriage is where they're headed. Sometimes I believe, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I'm just saying culturally, the Egyptian tradition, or our tradition, you know, in the Coptic church, is that engagement is probably also a time of courtship. It's not decisive that the engaged couple will get married, and sometimes it's also a way of people getting to know each other in the light of the community and in the light. So I think that's where there's a little bit of grey areas, if you like me to say. Like, it's different for different people from different contexts of life, isn't it, Abouna? So dating to one person or courtship to one person means, you know.
If the drive is correct, the whole idea, why we think of engagement, because this will be a good drive. Like, the engagement is announcement of a relationship that is acceptable by the society and the friends.
That's right.
And as you say, it may lead to marriage, it may not lead to marriage. But of course, it's not very nice for the person to start without having a bit of feeling about the possibility of success.
Of course.
Which we speak about pre-engagement, to be a stage that we can start trying to know each other better. But again, it has to be supervised, or the word supervised may be a bit tough. We can say
in the light
it will be blessed by the reasonable people that we trust their wisdom, that they can give us green light about start. Because sometimes it's very wrong for, say, a very young girl to start dating someone without knowing anything about this person.
That's right.
Even his religion or his culture or his history. Then after that she falls in love with him and doesn't work, then she gets affected and she becomes sad about why did I start, because she was not wise enough to take counsel, to take advice from wise people.
Thank you for that response. I think it's actually very wise. I think a lot of people would benefit from that, Abouna. Thank you. Okay, just the next question as well, Abouna, before we go on break. This person is asking, does a Catholic or a Protestant have to be baptized in the Coptic Orthodox Church to be able to marry in the Orthodox Church? And then that person seems to know the answer, because then they say, if yes, is it fair? So they're asking.
Well, if the marriage happens in the Orthodox Church, then the person has to be Orthodox.
Mm-hmm.
And to be Orthodox means that he'll be a member of the Orthodox Church. How it is done, if the person is Protestant, then his baptism happened by a pastor, that from the traditional church point of view, he has no sacrament of priesthood.
Yeah.
Priesthood is a sacrament in the traditional churches, but it is not in the Protestant churches.
Mm-hmm.
Protestant churches do not believe in sacraments.
Mm-hmm.
So the principle is very tough, because any priest in a traditional church like Catholic Orthodox can trace back his ordination. I know who ordained me and who ordained the one that ordained me backward until we see it happening from Christ directly through his apostles.
Yeah.
And that's what we call canonical priest.
Right.
Canonical means he got this lineage. He knows that it happened in a certain way, according to St. Paul, that no one takes this honor without being invited. It's not. So we believe that the priest that should practice this sacrament has to be canonical priest. We don't say that the Protestant people are not holy, or this would be shame on us to say that.
Of course, yeah.
We know that many of the Protestant people are very honorable, and they are showing great evidence of strong relationship with God. But it's a matter of being a member in the Orthodox Church to be capable to get married in the Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
For the Catholic, it's different. We hope that soon, through possibly the Coptic Synod, that the situation may be different. At the moment, we say to the Catholic person, if she or he like to get fully baptized, that would be good, and we encourage them for that. If they feel they don't like that, then we can anoint them with Myron as membership. They become member in the church. And then being member in the church will allow them to be married in the Orthodox Church, and this doesn't make them lose their churches. They still can have their own churches. But we hope that soon, in the immediate future, there may be more good
collaboration. Yes, Abouna agreed. We're just going to go on a short break, but before we do, I'll remind you again of the phone number. It's 0416 551 292, Twitter at CYC Now, or the Facebook of Christian Youth Channel. Thank you, and we'll see you shortly.
Can you be Christian and involved in science? How does God reveal himself to people through his creation and nature?
Let there be light.
The things that keep us alive are mentioned specifically.
If you are interested in creation issues, the early life, and the evolution theory,
We have a planet that appears to have been made just for us.
you will find your questions answers in this Creation and Evolution show. Watch it soon on CYC. Creation and Evolution show. New York time, Friday, 6 p.m. Rerun, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Sydney time, Saturday, 6 p.m. Rerun, Wednesday, 6 p.m.
CYC, Christian Youth Channel.
Okay, welcome back to Live with Abouna. Today we have with us Abouna Yacoub Magdy, and we're very excited. The next question that we have to ask Abouna is, why is dancing wrong? Somebody really wants to know that. God did not forbid dancing overtly in the Bible, and they're saying many people danced, and they're giving the examples of the prophet David, Miriam, and Aaron, who's Aaron's sister. So why is dancing?
Who said that dancing is wrong? dancing is not wrong. It's the drive for the dancing or the way of dancing that would show if it is wrong or right. Like we saw many of the monks during the tasbihah, they swing right and left in a very dancing way. St. Augustine, commenting on the Psalm 150, he was saying that dancing means that the whole body shares in the joy of praising God.
Yeah.
So dancing for sake of God, to praise Him by our movement, is not wrong at all. What we say wrong is that the environment that is done now in a club, nightclub, and the type of music and the motive for people to dance, showing their bodies, and I think any person that loves God, when he or she in that environment, immediately they feel uncomfortable. I remember Abouna Mina Na'matallah once told us this story that a girl in his church came to him saying, "Can I go dancing in a nightclub?"
Yep.
He said, "Take me with you." And she said, "We can't, Abouna." She said, "Why?" She said, "It's not your place." Then he told her, "If it's not my place, then definitely it's not Christ's place. Then why to go to a place that Christ cannot go to?" So it's the idea of the environment and the friends. But if we sing tasbihah while we are swinging, why not? Why not? So it's not the idea of dancing or moving the body. It's the idea of why you do it. What's the motive? And how it's affecting us. I think when David was dancing before the tabernacle, the Ark of God, he was extremely filled with the joy of God.
Yeah.
But do the youth, when they dance in nightclubs, have the same spiritual feeling? Can they pray?
No.
Of course, the type of music, the gathering there is not holy. We had many casualties out of that.
Casualties.
Like I use the word casualty. Like there are many people that regretted very much going to this place. They came and they said that because it's attached to drinking and
spiritual casualties.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I understand. We just created a new term.
Yeah.
Abouna Yacoub is a visionary. He likes to invent new things all the time. But you know, Abouna, like, seeming there are a lot of questions, wrong, right, wrong. I feel like there's a lot of black and white thinking. And would you agree with me, Abouna, in saying that a lot of that black and white thinking could be rectified through the right spiritual counsel? If this person, all the people that are asking these questions, if they sat with their confession father, there would be definitely a gentle way of understanding our faith about these matters. You know?
Definitely.
All things are lawful, you know, as St. Paul says.
And things change with time. And it's good to have the open-minded approach of understanding. But the bottom line is that, am I doing that in a way that God will be happy or not? So this gray area would be, I should answer this question, will Christ be happy if I do that? My conscience will tell me. Yeah,
you'll know inside. Okay, Abouna, the next question. Thank you again for okay, so why isn't our church promoting chastity and purity as much as it pressures us to get married? Can't we live as single Orthodox Christian youth?
I think this area has to be clarified better, and it has also there must be an environment that would allow for that. The parents can hardly accept their daughters to live unmarried if there is no system that will protect them for the future. But we are hoping to have some houses where unmarried girls can live together for the sake of God. They serve, they enjoy the Christian life together, and the parents should accept that because it's for the sake of God. And there is no need for them to be consecrated in the sense of changing their jobs. In the 1950s, in Egypt, there was a system like that.
Yeah.
In Giza, for example,
Yeah.
there was a house like that. And in more than one place where girls or boys can live together, they still can go to work, and they share together Christian life. And some priests will go join with them, pray masses for them in their... I'm hoping that this vision can be accepted.
Yeah.
Because there are a number of people really that they enjoy this type of life.
They enjoy.
And they can live in celibacy for sake of God happily. We have example like I'm not sure if you are aware of one person in Egypt that he got the degree of archdiakon. His name Ramses Naguib. He passed away recently. He was my teacher when I was in school. He was a mathematics teacher.
Yeah.
He did a marvelous effect on the youth in Egypt. And he is not a monk.
He's not a monk.
He didn't change his clothes, normal. But he lived celibate, long life, and he supervised hundreds of youth, changed their life, inflamed them with the love of God. And this house produced many, many monks and bishops out of this house, and that was a model. So I hope that this can happen.
So it's slowly happening in
Yeah, but we should...
we should. The question is that why isn't our church promoting chastity and purity? But I think you're saying it has been, but perhaps in Australia.
Chastity and purity can be in marriage or can be in celibacy. But the idea is that model of having a house where girls can live together, especially at St. Mark Church, we have a strong feeling that we should do something like that. We hope that the church would allow us to do something like that, because we know that some of the girls would love to live in this type of life. They are very holy, chaste, and pure, and they love to serve the Lord, and the company, they live together. Our problem is that the parents are not accepting this model easily. But when they see it happening and they are happy, then they may accept it.
Hopefully, Abouna, in the near future, we can do something like that.
I
Be
mean,
very exciting. Okay, the next question is, shall I allow my daughter to partake of the Holy Communion at her Catholic school?
Okay. You are asking me as a friend or as a priest? We always say to our kids that the Catholic Church is like auntie.
Auntie.
Yeah, not mom. She is mom's sister.
Mom's sister.
We love the church. We love the system that they have. But I have food at mom's place.
Yeah.
However, if the kids are weak and they are not capable to face the situation, they don't like to be excluded, then don't quote me on the air. That sometimes we allow them to do that just to make them more comfortable at the school.
Yeah.
But if they are strong enough to say to the Catholic school, we love you and we love the Catholic Church, but I have Holy Communion in my mom's house, which is the Orthodox, and the school is happy by that, then that's preferred. We prefer that to happen this way.
Okay. The next question is, hi, Father. How do I know in early age if I'm called to be a monk or to serve in the world?
This question was asked to Saint Anthony the Great, who established monastic life. And he answered in a very clear way, saying that when we are very close to God and we lead a life of chastity and purity, and we have close relationship with God, then the Lord will make the path very sweet, to be attracted to the path that the Lord like us to go in by the sweetness, the attraction. Like you see, many of the monks, when you ask them how it started with them, they had been inflamed with the love of this monastic life. Like, I was very lucky in my life to take number of people to the monastery in Egypt and in Australia, and I know the feeling. They go there with tremendous joy and attraction to this path. But no one will push himself or herself in a path that is not sweet. So let those people feel the call from God through the sweetness of the path. If a person dreams to serve in the world and look after the youth and be mixed with them and have that desire to be amongst them, and this concept of solitude is not very attractive to him or to her, then of course they stay. If they like celibacy, to live celibate, they can live celibate in the world. And hopefully we'll have system for them to protect them, not necessarily to change their shape or their clothes. They stay normally. They can still go to work, but they lead a life together. But if they have the desire for monastic life and it's burning fire in the heart for that, then that's the invitation.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Abouna, but St. Paul really set the beautiful example for that. He was making his own money.
Yeah.
And and he was also serving exactly. So it is a biblical model even from before monasticism.
Yeah. However, the monastic life is safer because the monastery
of the community system. So this is our church,
community and the leadership and things like that. So it's a well-established system.
Yeah.
The celibacy in the world is not established enough.
It's not established, okay.
But possibly in migrant countries is needed.
It's needed, okay. Yeah. All right. Another question, Abouna. Someone is asking, how do we fear the Lord? And they have in brackets, a question that has been nagging me for years. So possibly there's just a bit of, they need clarity as what it means to fear the Lord.
Okay. The expression fear the Lord is very preserved to God. It's not being scared of God. The word fear in that aspect must be understood to be a relationship with God, that we revere Him, respect Him, we obey Him, we are attracted to Him. So it's a status of the heart that would feel the majesty of the Lord. And His presence is always in our eyes and in our hearts. But it's not to be scared of God. There's strong attraction towards Him while we are fearing Him. So the expression fear God is really unique. It cannot be used for, if I fear the same expression to fear, say, my parents or fear my boss or something like that. It's not the same. It's a very preserved word for God. The fear of God is preserved expression, which is a status that we can express it this way, that the heart is inflamed with His majesty. In His presence, my heart beats with joy, attraction, and respect. And I like to worship Him in His presence. But still I'm attracted to Him. So I'm not scared of Him, that I don't like to be close to Him. So there's a prayer that says, create in our hearts the fear and the attraction, the eagerness. I'm eager to be with Him, but I revere Him.
And what does that look like in daily living, Abouna? Like fearing God in daily living?
I think it becomes clear when a person is God-fearing that he or she cannot tolerate things that normal people can tolerate. They feel, no, it's not me, I can't. It's worth to read a lot about that. There's a wonderful book by Pope Shenouda about the fear of God.
Yeah, actually, yes.
It's translated to English. It's a wonderful book.
Yes.
And it was his specialty.
Yeah, it was good actually. I remember reading.
Yeah, very, very strong book.
Yes, it's a good book.
We actually got hundreds of this book in St. Mark Church, particularly to give for the youth to understand it. And there are many promises for those who fear God. One of the very joyful promises is that He reveals His secrets to them. God-fearing people get exposed to secrets that the Lord tells them.
Yeah.
So God reveals His secret to it's
Secret
a
of the
promise
Lord
in
is
the
with
Bible.
those who fear Him.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Abouna. That's very nice.
There's songs about
Yeah,
that as well.
the fear of the Lord is with us. Yeah, very nice. Apparently, I'm told this is the last question, but we don't want to let you go, Abouna. So we have to do something about this. The last question is how to experience God practically, actually, which is more in the lines of what we were saying. How to experience God practically.
How to say?
Experience God
Experience.
practically.
Well, as Abouna Makarian always says that he takes a step towards Him, He takes 2 steps towards you. Some expressions from Abouna Makarian, and I use them to, like when he says that, give me a chance, Lord, to honor you before I come to you.
Yeah.
So we experience God by
Yeah.
trying to honor Him. And he reveals Himself when we fear Him. And then we experience that more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Some people complain that why don't I have experiences like others? Possibly we don't, sacrifices will make the Lord very real in our life if we sacrifice for Him. If we take courageous decisions to please Him. If we, every time we make a major sacrifice, then immediately the Lord reveals Himself in a certain way.
Okay. Actually, Abouna, it's the last question before the break, so we still have you for a little bit longer, thankfully. I'll just repeat the phone number you can keep sending your questions on, 0416 551 292, Twitter at CYC Now, and Facebook Christian Youth Channel. Thank you, and we'll see you shortly.
Hello, CYC kids. Here is a new show coming for you.
When we read this verse, what comes to mind?
Many stories from the Bible, from our church.
Monk said, go read your Bible for 1 year, from beginning to end, and then come back.
And many other interesting stories. Tutti will tell them to you.
Then, when the old man would go up on the hill with the water and arrive to his master's house,
Wait for each story with Tutti in Once Upon a Time show. New York time, Friday, 4:35 p.m. Rerun, Tuesday, 4:35 p.m. Sydney time, Saturday, 4:35 p.m. Rerun, Wednesday, 4:35 p.m.
CYC, Christian Youth Channel.
Okay, welcome back to Live with Abouna. We're very comfortable here and happy to have an extended session with Abouna Yacoub. We love to ask him a lot of questions and to chat with him and benefit from his wisdom and experience. Just to remind you again, the phone number is 0416 551 292. I know that we're doing everything that we can to answer all the questions, and we know there's a lot of questions coming. Also on Twitter at CYC Now, or the Facebook channel, CYC channel. Okay, Abouna, the next question. Is it a true statement that God terminates our lives on earth when we are ready the most?
Oh, I'm not sure. But there are experiences about that, that this happened, experiences that we saw that.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a story?
Absolutely, Abouna, you can tell me many stories.
It was actually a young lady that was very nice, very holy, but she drifted a little bit and she was exposed to a car accident, and we got very bad news that it is brain damage.
Brain damage, right.
And at that time, Abouna Musa Suryani and Athanasius was with me. While we were visiting her, he told me, no, it's not brain damage. She will revive and she will be okay.
Wow.
Then I told him, how are you, prophet? He said exactly what you said now in the question, that the Lord wouldn't take her in this status, because she is a very good girl, but it's only recently that she drifted a bit. And it happened. against all the doctor's assessment
Wow.
that everything went all right after that. So it's true that we had experiences like that, that the Lord in His mercy wouldn't do that. However, we don't misuse it. I have one person in our church says, I don't like to repent because I'll be very good and God will take my life. So I like to be in sin. So it's not like that. I wouldn't expect that there's a rule, general rule like that, because there are examples also of people that were taken, they ended their life in sin. It's always good to think that if I repent and live in purity, the Lord can give me a chance to serve more. Sometimes people are taken unexpectedly and their life ends. There's a famous incident that is known to many people, it's nothing secret, that a young man that was involved in a deadly accident, and he was on in the hospital in front of the operating theater, and the surgeon said that I have to operate now.
Yeah.
And the boy said, I need to speak to my confession father first. And the confession father was at least half an hour away. And then the surgeon said that, no, I have to operate. The boy is dying, bleeding. And unfortunately, the boy died in the operating theater. His confession father said that his orientation towards asking for confession and speaking about that is through repentance.
That's right.
And the parents were happy to know that their son had this desire to repent.
Abouna.
But again, this is indication that some people say that my life can end at any time unexpectedly. So we have to be prepared. The fact that God is very sympathetic and caring and loving give us the feeling that if a person lives all his life good and there is one stage in his life that he's a bit drifting away, then the Lord is waiting for him to come back unexpectedly, that his life will end this way, except if that person will never repent, then that's it.
Abouna, just while you're answering this question, I had another sort of another question of mine.
Yes, please.
This is the 55 joyous days, 55 joyous days of the resurrection, and this question, whilst it's talking about death, it reminded me that there's a lot of people that have recently met with death through a loved one or someone that they cared for. And I guess my question is, how do we meet with death in the joyous way that you've taught us, Abouna? Because you've really taught us that through your own experience, and it's something that has impacted me personally, and that was actually my question that I wanted to ask you, but I'm glad that this person kind of put it in there, because we struggle with that as human beings, to part our loved ones. We really do, Abouna. And sometimes when I'm speaking with a few people in this situation, it's obviously an unhappy space to be in, and there's a lot of grief and loss. And so how to meet with this, Abouna, please, if you can.
I think, Christine, the problem is the people around the person that is dying that are suffering more than the person himself or herself.
Of course.
Like I you know, of course, that I passed through this experience in my family. That my wife was very happy, which was shocking me. She was very happy. And really, without exaggeration, the happiest time in her life was the last few days in her life. And it kept me thinking that there must be miraculous effect from God to prepare them to accept this departure from this world. And actually, she used an expression, don't be selfish, because I like to live. And so I think the people around the person that will be affected more, they feel the loss or something like that. But the person that is carrying the cross of pain and suffering and disease like cancer or whatever, surprisingly, that the Lord gives them strength and courage, that they are happy. And miracles happen. Like I remember one person in our church, passed away a number of years ago. We loved this person very much. He's very sweet. And he was in severe pain. And while he was in pain, I was visiting him, and I couldn't control my feeling. So I didn't like to show being emotional, so I left the room, and he observed.
Yeah.
And then when I returned back, he said, "Father, come closer, I tell you something." And he told me, "Don't be sad, because the Lord is doing miracles with me, one miracle after the other, but not healing. The healing is not on, but small miracles." He said, "Whenever I need something, I raise my eyes to the Lord, and something he needs from the nurse, and he is a bit embarrassed. So he raises his eyes to the Lord and says, 'Send the nurse,' and now the nurse comes." His son in that year was in HSC.
Oh.
Then he used to raise his eyes and say, "Lord, send someone living close to my son, that he takes him home from hospital." Then immediately someone comes in.
Wow.
Things like that. Miracles happened with him that showed him that the Lord is caring, loving, but his disease is terminating. Anyway, we have to die in some way or another. So
now for the people that have to
around,
give us some.
Well, I think they have the wisdom to see that miracles are happening, which is the hand of God is in the situation. We are not haphazardly exposed to that. We had cases in our church that the people around the dying person saw miracles, and they knew that things are planned by God in His own way. But the death should not be looked upon as catastrophic, because all of us know that we'll die anyway, and this will shift us to a better place.
Peace. God provides peace in His own way. Yeah.
And the way of death, the fact that the Lord died crucified in pain, make us feel that it's not a curse to be under pain, or on the day that Abouna Yusuf Asad, who is a very beloved priest to all of us, when I knew how he died in a car accident, I was very upset. And again, Anba Asanasius was me telling me, "Why are you sad?" I said that I didn't expect this wonderful priest to die in this way.
Okay.
And he said, "Did you forget how the Lord Jesus Christ died?"
Yeah.
Which shows that the way of this is not that important. The important thing is that to be accepted to heaven.
Yeah. Okay, Abouna, thank you so much for answering that question. It was something that, I really wanted to ask you. Now, we have a lot of questions, and
Yes.
I'm going to ask you the next one. How can I help my friend who is addicted to drugs and does not see it as wrong?
No, I think they know that it's wrong, but they argue.
They know it's
I
wrong.
love one of our beloved youth that told me it's impossible to stop. I think it was ice. And I said to him, "There's nothing impossible with God." Then he made a deal with me that I use ice with him, and we both repent after that.
Okay.
I was coward, I couldn't. It's very hard. It's very hard. Very hard. However, it succeeds. We have limited number of successful cases. But normally the successful cases happen to be tremendous love towards Christ, stronger. They get high, not on drug, but on the love.
On the love of God.
There's one wonderful book by a Russian monk by the title Addiction.
Yes.
And he was drug addict.
Yes.
And he became monk.
Yes.
And the whole idea of the book is that you have to get joy in the Lord stronger and deeper than the joy of...
Get addicted to God.
Yeah, exactly.
Just replace the addiction.
Exactly.
You know, Abouna,
Exactly.
I'll just intervene a little bit because I am studying Christian counseling, and this is something very close to my heart, very close to my line of work in the future, God willing. And just some advice to that person, advise them to see a GP or a doctor. They can then further refer them either to a psychologist or psychiatrist, because a lot of people take drugs to self-medicate things that they don't know that they have. Some people could be, self-medicating anxiety, and people do alcohol for that. You know, they could be self-medicating depression and trying to get, marijuana or something to help with that or slow down their thinking. So a lot of people, unfortunately, are misguided and they use the street drugs. So, but that's what the health system is there for, and it's guided. And the doctor will put you on medication and take you off the medication, and it's done in a way that you will be helped with it. So it's mind, body, and soul, as we say. God will definitely help you, but God is the ultimate healer, and He will heal you through all these things. He'll heal you through the church and the doctor and everything else that He can help you with. So maybe advise your friend to see a doctor as a starting point, and then maybe then start bringing him or her to the church to meet with a priest when they're in a better situation to realize, what's going on in their life. Okay, Abouna, the next question is actually quite funny. I'm not sure who's asking this question, but who is your favorite biological child? That could be one of them, maybe.
well, it's very hard to answer this question because we cannot prefer one child more than the other.
They want to know the answer. I'm sorry, I'm doing my job, I'm just asking.
No, I think it differs from one state. Usually, the one that is really in a bit of need or a bit of difficulty at that stage will be the preferred one.
Okay.
And but really, the Lord gave me that feeling that all biological children are. My struggle is not to differentiate between them. My struggle is to differentiate between my biological children and the church ones.
Yeah.
Like when my child was in HSC, for example, and I start praying at the instant of selecting the lamb on the altar, then should I mention my son's name first? Or that was the struggle.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of struggle in that. It's very hard to arrive at a purest stage that I can feel that all the children are like my biological child. This is the struggle. But to differentiate between them, no, it's easy.
Okay, well, that question was answered. Okay, the next question. Okay, it looks like it's coming from somebody who's struggling a little bit to believe God exists. They're saying, if there is a God, why does He allow evil to happen if a merciful God existed? So it's almost from an atheistic kind of standpoint.
No,
and I appreciate this question, actually. I think
this question, many people think about it and they get difficulty in accepting the catastrophes and difficulties that we pass through. But we never answer this question fully until we leave this earth and understand that what we call evil may not be evil.
Yeah.
May be a chance for us to leave this earth happily. God does exist. There are enough proofs for that. And if this person really like to know more, let him contact or read. There are books that are very strong, like books by Josh McDowell, a philosopher that was atheist and accepted Christianity.
Yeah.
He has very strong books.
He's very good,
Very strong books about
The Case for the Resurrection.
For example.
That's a very good book.
Yeah. But to understand that evil is evil because of people getting sick or dying or something like that, they should understand that life on earth is a training period. And we can graduate from that training period faster than others. And this is not that evil because there are many people, we'll understand that in heaven. Like martyrdom, for example. What happened with the martyrs that were martyred on that night on the Church of the Saints in Alexandria? One of the ladies that was in that church is in Australia.
Okay.
And she left Egypt a couple of days before this event. We visited her because she was very disturbed by knowing the bad news about the people that died. And she was crying bitterly. I thought that she was crying because of the fear, or she was crying that she was not amongst them. She said that we know them one by one.
Yeah.
The top people, if you like to select 20 odd people to be the top people, those are the ones that were martyrs. So martyrdom, or the death that happened to some people that love God, is not evil at all. It's a chance for them to be in eternity glorified by this crown of martyrdom. Because all of us will die. Whether we die by disease or martyrdom, or so possibly martyrdom is much more honorable for us for eternity. So we should understand that. Thanks to the Lord that some of the parents of the martyrs, young people, accepted it happily. And they understand that it's honor.
But if this person is not a Christian, Abouna, and they
Okay.
don't believe in these,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
what can we tell them about evil? I mean, it's a very deep philosophical question, and
Well, if the person is really like to know, the chance of knowledge is available. The books are available. He can speak to a priest or a good servant that understand that and explain.
yeah,
But unfortunately, some people like to find for them excuse not to believe because they love not to believe. They enjoy a style of life which is not acceptable to the Bible.
Yeah.
And they don't like to believe because if they believe, then they have to change the style of life.
Yeah.
For example, if a person is living in sin, they don't like to believe. There's a famous saying that behind any atheist, there's a beloved sin. A beloved sin will make us reject belief because that's the way we will become more comfortable. No one will ask me, why are you doing that? But if that person or whoever will be interested to know, really to know, we are ready to, we have conclusive evidences. Like enough to read some of the prophecies of the Old Testament about Christ, to be amazed. It's
course,
impossible. Impossible. By probability, it is 0% to be coincidence. There are some texts in the Old Testament unbelievably clear, and there are still with the books that are with Jewish people that like the book of Isaiah, written 700 years before Christ,
yes.
describing events which are amazing, but it needs someone to explain.
Yeah.
If anyone is interested, by all means,
They can come and
would
speak
love
to you,
it.
Abouna.
By all means.
Okay. Well, this brings us to an end, unfortunately, Abouna.
Thank you.
I would like to thank all our CYC viewers for tuning in. Would like to thank Abouna Yacoub for being with us today. And we encourage you to please keep sending your questions for the next live show with Abouna next week, this time. And keep us in your prayers. And goodbye.